There's always a good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, look at that. Very good. There's always a nice trite answer to some of this. How do you make practice practical? Well, remove the E from the end and add an AL. You can all go home now. Perfectly straightforward, isn't it? The humour's not alive here at the moment, but we'll see if we can wake this up. Now then, who likes MasterChef? Good grief, so MasterChef is not a management thing to sponsor, is it? Let me give you a recipe, a nice recipe here for delivering on the promise of management practice. Okay, so first of all, stop calling it management practice. It is working practice, and start involving the other 80% of your organisation who've got a huge, great wodge of knowledge. And that's a really good start. When you're engaging these people, communicate the purpose, whether it's a new process, a new business, doesn't really matter what. Get that purpose and its context absolutely clear. And remember, you've got red people, blue people, yellow people, green people. They hear differently, they listen differently, and they need to understand in a different way. And until you've communicated in everybody's terms that they understand, then you haven't communicated. So, get your communication of context out, get your discussion and input back, then shut the argument down and implement through some good human leadership with very strong integrity and clarity. Okay, that was the third point, by the way. When you've done a process well, don't forget it. Revisit it regularly, because actually what happens over time through no ill will is processes get corrupted by people's best and better ideas. And they get corrupted in ways which aren't reflected around the rest of the organisation, therefore they fall out of sync with the rest of the organisation. So this whole business of go round the loop several times is very important. And finally, in the recipe, sprinkle a little bit of make sure you reinforce and interpret the standard that you expect at the output. We often think that everybody knows what good looks like and everybody knows what the output should be. In fact, we're wrong quite often. We've got to be really clear about the expectation and the standard of the process that we're dealing with. So that's the recipe. So that recipe is just one recipe. It's been around a long time. Why are we sometimes failing to deliver the promise of management practice? Why don't these things work all the time? Well, a little bit in terms of credentials. I've been in the same job for nearly 11 years. No promotion, you understand, in 11 years. How's that for being overlooked? In being in a job 11 years, if I were to remove my trousers, you don't know I haven't done already because you can't see underneath this lectern.
But I can.
You can. Is he smiling? You would see that actually there are plenty of bites on my bottom of decisions that I've made that have come back and gnawed away at me over a number of years. And actually, we all ought to stay in jobs long enough to make sure that happens. It's the best way of learning. But I'm now going to, I think, insult all of you because we know the recipes. We've had some pretty good clarity tonight from the panel about the sorts of things we ought to be thinking about. But actually, let me tell you where I think we're lazy, all of us. I don't think we put in clear purpose into our organisations. I look at mission, vision, value statements, which are, I want to be the number one provider of this, that and the other, and I'm fast asleep before I've gone past I want to be the number. The public are actually a bit more intelligent than that. They want more clarity, sense of purpose, and they want to be energised by what it is they do as a contribution to this planet. I don't think we then understand what our signature processes are. I think it's a fantastic term, actually, which is new to me as a consequence of this research, so thank you very much. And then, in achieving those signature processes, we do not make enough effort to really make the difference within that process. Even if we identify it, that'll do is too often the case. If this is going to be a point of difference, the focus and the effort that goes in needs to be fantastic. Perhaps the real insult is that we are inadequate as people in terms of engaging our workforces, in terms of our own behaviours, our own integrity, our own abilities to communicate. And if the management skill of the future is attitude and skill together, then frankly at the moment we are lightweight on the way we do attitude, and we resort to command and control because it's easy. I had just recently two very large organizations telling me they've done a staff survey, they're making profits, they're growing, they're beating their shareholder value, and the staff morale thing comes back and it's really low. What is their problem? Okay, so we're not understanding what's going on in our business. The last piece is that we are not thinking, we prefer to measure. We prefer to measure because we believe that everything in life can be put on two axes, and if those two axes prove it, then it must be true. And actually, if you ask me what got Mid-Staff's hospital into trouble, I bet you there's an aggregation of statistics upward which look fantastic at the PCT level and the Strategic Health Authority level and bear no relationship whatsoever to what's going on the shop floor. How many of our businesses suffer from the same thing? How many fellow chief executives suffer from the same completely delusional view of what is going on within their organizations? I didn't include myself in that, by the way. Finally, for me, we slavishly follow, I would call them stupid social trends and mores, as opposed to thinking about what is right for us. So there's a lot in what I'm saying actually, which is look in the mirror, look at the one finger pointing forward and the three fingers pointing back at yourself, and ask these questions. How good am I at the human side of implementation such that we get good practice out of good ideas? I hope that's put the cat amongst the pigeons.